So good morning, everyone, and welcome from IMC's Insight Retreat Center. And welcome also to this week where the topic is compassion. So these guided meditations are related to that, or pointing towards that, or laying down the foundation for it. So someone says they hear a very loud hiss. And I wonder, other people, are you hearing a static or a hiss, or that's a problem, or is it maybe that person's device? And so no hiss, no hiss. Okay. There someone says yes, yes a hiss, no static, yes. Well, some people have a hiss and some don't. Yes, it's loud. So no hiss. Interesting. Some people might have their volume turned up louder because they need to hear better. And we could try to do something, right? We could try to change back to which one? So we're going to try to turn something back here. If you we turn it back to the Mac or to the country's.
Oh yeah, maybe you can get that MacBook.
To MacBook. So let's see if this works better. And okay, so now is the hiss there? I have to wait. Better, no hiss. Great, okay. So we're all using these new devices here and trying to figure out how to make them all connect nicely. So, maybe we'll start over. So then, welcome you again to Insight Retreat Center, where I'm teaching this week. And I feel very kind of, I don't know what the right word is, cozy, comforted with the topic for this week. It has to do with compassion. And and these morning meditations this week, they are meant to be kind of a foundation for compassion that supports it. So for this day, I want to emphasize calm, and to say that there's always a choice. And maybe it's not easy to find the choice, but there's always a choice to have a certain kind of calm when we meditate. And the calm I want to emphasize today is calm awareness, calm recognition, calm feeling what's going on, sensing what's happening, calm observing what's happening. There's some capacity in the different forms of awareness that we use in this mindfulness practice to let that be calm, even if what we're being aware of is agitation. So there's a moment, a place, a little location, somewhere in the field, in the place where we're aware from, that is calmly recognized as agitation. So if there's a recognition, then the mind would either verbally or in some more silent way would have a clear but calm recognition. Agitation. Agitation is present. If there is discomfort anywhere, we would recognize discomfort. If the place of calm awareness is a little bit more embodied, like so it almost feels like this feeling, the body can sense and feel discomfort or agitation, then feel that with the calm. That's the place for mindfulness. If there's more a sense of being the observer, a little bit removed from the experience, stepping back in a sense and just observing, that's where calm is, then take that backward step and observe the experience. If it's most calm to be intimate with the experience, really close in, then really touch the experience softly, maybe lightly, but really be close. If it's more calm, to step back and have a bird's eye view of it, then the do that. So see if you can experiment with whatever is happening to have a calm awareness. So, assuming an upright posture and gently closing your eyes. And as you are right now, to just be aware of how you are calmly. Is there some way of just matter-of-factly recognizing how you are in the most obvious way that is calm? A calm knowing. A calm sensing. And with that calmness, be aware of your breathing. And now take maybe 2 or 3 long, slow, deep breaths, relaxing as you exhale. Settling in. Then letting your breathing return to normal. And settle into your breathing, becoming aware of your breathing. And if your breathing is in any way uncomfortable, be calmly aware of the discomfort, the uncomfortable breathing. Maybe without having a need for it to be any different way. If your breathing is comfortable, easeful, know that calmly. If, if there is discomfort in your body, it's tense or aches in some way, hurts, know that calmly. And this calm knowing, calm awareness might be fleeting. It might just last a moment or two. And let yourself be content with that. That's enough. And then do it again. If your mind is uncomfortable, you're agitated with your thoughts, know that calmly. Calm recognition. This is how it is. If you have emotions which are challenging or uncomfortable, know that calmly. A tranquility of awareness. As you're aware of your breathing, finding a way to be calmly aware. Maybe even calmingly aware. Aware so something becomes more peaceful, tranquil. If you're agitated, be aware of that calmly. Being aware in a way that is calming for yourself. As you're aware of breathing, body, mind, whatever you're aware of, if you can be aware of it calmly, lightly, can you find in the middle of that or next to it some care, some motivation or impulse to care or have compassion? The simplest form of compassion. For now, it doesn't need to do anything. Aware with calm compassion. Aware with tranquil love, even of what is difficult here and now. as we come to the end of this sitting, to consider for a moment, or feel for a moment, the compassion that might be a companion of calm or tranquility, a compassion or a love that has no room when the mind is agitated, in a hurry, reactive. The simplest form of care. And if you were going to live this day with care, with compassion, that came from being calm, calm compassion, compassionate calmness, how might you live your day differently? How might you live your day informed by a calm love, calm compassion, compassionate calm? Would you live differently if you were informed by compassion, care, love, or kindness? Live differently in the small details of your life? Or in the large? Areas of your life? And may our care for the world somehow be carried out into the world on these words. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. Thank you. So, so the topic of this week is the 7 factors of compassion, and how these 7 factors follow in the wake of compassion, that we live in a compassionate way, and we find that in the wake of that, or together with that, there comes a form of awareness, mindfulness. There comes a quality of investigation that we do kind of distinguish. And for compassion, we distinguish between suffering and the absence of suffering, in all the different ways that we call, distress, or feeling emotionally challenged, or things are difficult. That compassion is based on the recognition of suffering, whether it's mild or big. It's a recognition, and that recognition involves a distinction between the suffering and the possibility of the absence of suffering. And so with this with compassionate care, there becomes a sense of awareness or attention to what's happening, because compassion has an object, or has a way of living, or a way of attending to the world. And then and part of that attending is to is the compassion nature of compassion is to see a distinction between suffering and the absence of it. And this is the fundamental distinction that Buddhism is about. It lives and it grows and develops and flowers out of making this distinction, because with this distinction it's possible to move towards greater and greater freedom, greater absence of suffering, freedom from suffering. And so there is a deeper and a more sensitive attention to suffering when we do this practice. And some of the coarser suffering might go away, but becomes a more acute sensitivity to smaller and smaller, or deeper and deeper ways. And that's not a mistake. That's the way of doing house cleaning, to kind of clean the house and clean things up in a sense. With that distinction, and so all of Buddhism can be seen as arising out of the impetus to compassion. It's so central to the whole enterprise of Buddhism, the whole religion of Buddhism. And sometimes that compassion takes the form of kindness and friendliness, or they're kind of part of a mixture of care. And so sometimes it's not exactly compassion that's in the forefront, but kindness, friendliness, a sense of care for people, for ourselves. As this unfolds, then we see the distinction between suffering and the absence of it. Then comes effort. Comes the desire to do something, to make a change. So from this guided meditation we did, the change there that was emphasized was that becoming calmly aware. So we can suffer, and we can just kind of suffer unapologetically, just be living in the suffering, really kind of captivated by our suffering, fully inhabiting it. Or we could, in a sense, step away from it and be aware of it calmly. It involves a little bit of disidentification with the suffering, like it's my suffering and I'm suffering, but to step away and say, oh, there's suffering here. And to calmly be aware. And then that calm awareness, to see it more clearly. And one of the things we see that there's suffering, and there's something which is not suffering so much, the calm awareness. That's an important distinction. And with that distinction, we then were able to choose more often that which is not suffering, the calm awareness. It's not getting rid of the suffering, it's still there. It's not just fixing it, it's not condemning it, it's not ignoring it, but it's meeting it from a place where we're not identified with it, or we're not kind of glued to it. And this is a powerful thing of compassion, this ability to see clearly and calmly. If the compassion is not calm, it might not really be compassion. It might be distress that we're feeling. So the importance of finding that calm place is not easy to do, but it's worthwhile to do, and it's possible to do. And maybe for some of us, the easiest place might be in the mindfulness itself, in the awareness itself. So the mindfulness factor of compassion. With the mindfulness factor of compassion, we see these distinction better between suffering and the absence of it. We see a kind of a distinction there. With that, as we start seeing this distinction and the possibility of being without suffering, then comes the effort factor of compassion, the engagement, the activity of moving towards or coming close to or giving ourselves over to that place where there is less suffering, to do that which decreases the suffering. And if we kind of build on what's happening already, the place of less suffering is not getting rid of the suffering, but is a heightened capacity for attention. Awareness can kind of blossom, become stronger, while the suffering is there. And maybe the suffering doesn't get any better, but mindfulness, awareness gets stronger, which creates a very different context. As awareness gets stronger, then maybe we can identify or live more in the awareness than we live in the suffering. So it's I think, very significant thing to say that the suffering doesn't have to go away. It's being replaced in a sense, or the ecology of the mind, heart is being changed, but we're bringing in something that's stronger or larger or more significant to be next to it or be part of it or be around it. And that's the capacity to be aware, to wake up to the middle of it, and to be able to shift the paradigm from needing to get rid of suffering to becoming bigger than the suffering, or become resting in a place where it's peaceful to look on the suffering. That's a radical thing to do. So that's living the investigation factor, the distinction factor of compassion. And then the natural effort to engage, to activity, to keep practicing, to do something about it. So yesterday I used the example of a little girl who's got hurt on the playground with a scraped knee. And there's compassion in the adult who's going to care for her. And of course the adult puts effort in to care for the child. It brings the Band-Aid, brings the water to clean the wound, and does it very carefully. And the engagement is one of care and love, but it is engagement, it is effort being put in. But that effort doesn't feel like work. The compassion is a motivating force for a relaxed, easy, maybe in a certain kind of way, non-self-centered effort. An effort that's here to make things better. And part of the difficulty people have with the concept of effort is some people make effort which has suffering embedded in it. They're straining, they're pushing, they're expecting, they're anxious, they're disappointed, they're hesitant, they're feel hopeless in the effort. So then we come back to this whole compassion. Oh, there's the suffering. To be mindful, suffering is in the effort itself. And part of the reason to make effort is to discover how the effort is off. And then to see that distinction, and then in the seeing of it begin kind of finding a way, engaging in a process, engaging the effort to find effort that is calm, find effort that is engaged but not agitated, find effort which is engaged in doing what needs to be done, but has no strain in it. That's caring, that's loving, that's present. So the suggestion is that this is natural in the wake of compassion, in the wake of caring, and feeling a sense of care for something, in the wake of kindness, feeling kindness for something, in the wake of love, feeling love for something, that there is starting to make distinctions, the investigation factor, and from that comes a certain kind of effort. So, and the big efforts would be to go out and save the world, to go out and really trying to help someone who's suffering. That's a beautiful thing to do, an important thing to do, but maybe as a way of kind of really discovering the compassion-informed effort that includes compassion for oneself, compassion for the very effort we make. Maybe today we should not be in a hurry to be compassionate for the world, but have the compassion really be towards yourself. To these factors, to not even to yourself, but to the particular ways in which your mind, heart are operating, in the way that you're aware. Are you aware in a way that's stressful or demanding or expectant? Or can you be aware in a calm way? Are you making distinctions? Are you seeing the challenges you have, but building on that challenges, are you judging yourself and being upset with things? Or can you find a way to see that making simple distinctions between suffering and the absence of it really is a path to freedom? And then as you engage in this practice, and practice with all this, the effort part, have compassion or care for that. Can you recognize there where there's strain and suffering? To do this very personal work sets the stage for bringing a healthy form of compassion into the world and for others. So we're laying down the foundation here. So thank you. And I'll be here for the week at IRC, so I'm happy to be here. And as I said yesterday, I think I look forward to the chance to show you the meditation hall on maybe the last day here. And we can zoom out a little bit and scan it for you to see what's here. So, thank you.